Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am the Inconsequential Runner and let's do a head-to-head with the Novablast 5 versus the Superblast 2. Even though I'm going to be comparing these two shoes, the other thing I'm going to talk about is how they complement each other. Right, let's make a start. So, the Superblast 2, this shoe now is 800 kilometers old and my Novablast 5 is 200 kilometers old. So there's a couple of things I can't talk about. One is the wear and tear on the Novablast 5 to the level where I can understand about at what age it'll start to really degrade for me. We know the Superblast 2 is a proven machine. My first pair went over 800 Ks. This pair here has gone over 800 kilometers and it is looking good. Let's do a quick recap on where they're at. So 800 kilometers, like you know, the upper is great. There's slight wear in just the heel, just up the top, where you can see that the material is a little bit thinner. It is not threadbare, it's not super thin where it's going to split soon, but that's the only place I can see any wear, nothing on the inside. As I say, with the upper, there's no holes or anything like that. The outer of the midsole looks good, no dramas there. Feels good, feels really good, even after 800 kilometers, feels good. So it all comes down to the outsole. That is it after 800 kilometers. You can see a little bit of wear, mainly there on the lateral side. The medial side, the inside of the foot is looking pretty good. So, but the most significant wear, and you probably can't see it, is there on the lateral side of the heel. If I was to guess, I'd say there's probably another 100 kilometers there. I think it'll be safe 100 kilometers. So the midsole's looking good. Okay, Novablast 5, as I say, only 200 kilometers. The upper, as you'd expect, there's no visible signs of wear anywhere. There's, just as I spot it now actually in the heel, there is on the material, no wear, but just a couple of where there's a little bit of pilling. But when I say little bit, it's so small. Nothing else on the upper and on the outer of the midsole. So we're talking now the outsole. Just looking at the wear here, you can see that there's a bit of wear, but only a bit, where it looks like the top 10% of the surface, especially under the forefoot, has worn away. But where I tend to hit hard, and like you saw on the Superblast 2, on that lateral side of the heel, which is right here, there's a lot of rubber there on the outsole. That is going to last a long time. So really, I think, to extrapolate that out, I think we're looking 800 kilometers worth of possible wear in this easy. It's going to come down to, will the midsole last that long? Okay, now, these two shoes I love. I have run in over 100 different types of running shoes across a wide array of brands. These two sit in my top 3 shoes of all time. They complement each other, but they are so versatile, both of them, that you can get away with one pair over the other. There are differences between them. Okay, so if you wanted to do interval training all the way through to easy runs, so coming back from your races all the way through to easy runs, Novablast 5 will take care of that. And if your races are something like smashing it out on a park run, you're not a club runner, but you're not registered to a club, you like to race, but it's park run sort of stuff where you're time trialing against yourself, these will do everything for you. So the easy runs, recovery, beautiful soft foam, all the way through to if you're sort of park run racing and doing some interval training, so catching up maybe with a club or some of your team and you're knocking out some intervals, this shoe will do it for you. People have commented, I didn't have the Novablast 4, I had the Novablast 3, and that lasted long enough I was able to jump to the 5. People have commented that the foam in the midsole is much softer for the Novablast 5. Now I think because of that, it complements now the Superblast. The Superblast will do everything from, I think, mid-level races. It doesn't come with a plate, so it's not an out-and-out race shoe, but with the compounds of the midsole, the foams in the midsole, being your Flight Foam Turbo Plus and your Flight Foam Blast Plus. So they've got those two foams, and your Flight Foam Turbo Plus is your racing foam. Having that in the Superblast makes it pretty close to a race shoe. So you've got your Superblast 2 that takes care of close to your races. Certainly I've taken these to park runs and smashed out in a park run with them. If I was to take them to an out-and-out race, that was an A race for me, something I was really focusing on, the shoe probably wouldn't be quite fast enough, but it takes care of everything at that level all the way through to, but not including your soft runs, where your Novablast does. So coming back to that softness of the foam, I'm convinced they have softened the foam, so the overlap between these two shoes in terms of the width of training and running and racing that you take them on, their versatility goes like this, with these getting a bit softer. They widen. So quite a bit of overlap, but your easy runs will be taken care of your Novablast, but if you want something a little bit more racy, your Superblast is going to take care of that. Now, the big impact it has meant for me is this. My shoe rotation. I used to own so many shoes, so many road shoes, but my shoe rotation, I've been able to reduce it because between this shoe and this shoe, these two shoes cover 90% of my runs now. Going out for intervals, take this. Daily training, I'll switch it up between the two. Soft, easy recovery runs, I'll take this. Longer miles, take this. Something middle distance, maybe 10K, take this. So, especially if it's a little bit easier, if it's 10K a little bit quicker. So I helped pace a 10K race the other day. I was the 50-minute pacer. So for me, it was going to be, a relatively easy jog, a bit more than a jog. It's a run, but wasn't going to be pushing things sitting on 5-minute Ks. These were perfect. I didn't need my racing shoes. These did the job. Perfect. So if you're thinking sub 5-minute Ks for 10Ks, that's what you want to get to, you can get away with these easy. In fact, I would recommend these over racing shoes because they are way more comfortable than something with a carbon plate in it that becomes just a one-trick pony. But going back to the shoe rotation, I had many shoes, but between these two and the versatility of them, they cover everything except for my out-and-out races. That's it. I can live in these two shoes, so my rotation has reduced. I've got 2 pairs of Superblasts, and if I wear out of these, or when I get close to the end of life of these, I'll probably replace them with another pair of Novablast 5. So instead of having so many pairs of road shoes, over 10, don't tell my wife, I can now start to reduce my shoe rotation, which I think is a good thing. If I'm going away on holiday, I know I only need to take these or these. I'd probably lean towards these because it means if I come across a little race that I want to give it a bit of a nudge, then I can knock it out with the Superblast. But between the Novablast, the Superblast, and my race shoes, which are the Asics, these are the Edge, the Asics Metaspeed 3, between those 3 shoes, I've got everything covered. That's why I love it. Okay, this was going to be a short video, but it's gone on for way too long. Thank you so much for lasting to the end. If you have any questions, let me know. You might be thinking, okay, that's giving you clarification on whether you go with the Superblast or the Novablast, or you might go, hey, I can see where both work in a rotation for me, and I can alternate between the two. So for me, it's always good to alternate your shoes if you can. But that's only been a recent thing well, relatively recent for me. I used to, in my younger years, have one pair of shoes and I just smashed them to death, sort of thing. Now, shoe rotation. So for me, Tuesday, bit more speed, intervals, all of that, smash out on here. Wednesday, recovery run, and then that might include running to the gym, smashing it out at the gym, running home, and these will take care of my legs, even though I'm going to the gym. And then Thursday, back into these. And then Saturday, might race in these, or I might take my Meta Speeds or some other pair of shoes. Still got a rotation, but you know, it's narrowing down because of what these shoes do. So yeah, hopefully I've given you some information where you can choose head to head or how they complement each other. But any questions you've got, throw them in the comments below. I will answer them. Take care, enjoy your next run. Remember, running is something you can define it to be to suit you. So don't worry about how other people are running. Redefine running to suit you. If you're slow, you're slow. If you're fast, you're fast. If you run short, you run short. If you run long, you run long. Whatever you want to do. That's a great thing with running. You can calibrate it, redefine it to suit you. Enjoy your next run. Catch you in the next one. Hit subscribe if you want to waste your life watching videos like this by me.